It took me 40 years to understand something that could have saved me decades of frustration, pain, and wasted potential. If you truly listen to what I'm about to share, it won't just save you 40 years. It could completely change the trajectory of your next 40 days. Pain is one of the greatest teachers life has ever given us, yet it's the one most people try to avoid at all costs. We live in a world that glorifies comfort, convenience, and ease. And as a result, the moment discomfort shows up, we run. We numb ourselves with distractions, with noise, with busyness. But here's the truth that most people spend decades avoiding. Pain is not your enemy. It's your invitation to evolve. It is the knock on the door of your consciousness saying, "Wake up, there's more for you here." Every great transformation begins with a point of tension, a moment where life forces you to stop, to look deeper, to confront what you've been unwilling to see. If you look back at the moments that changed you the most, they were not the moments when everything was easy. They were the moments when life broke you open. Pain is a feedback system. It's not there to punish you, it's there to guide you. Just like the body uses pain to signal that something needs attention, your soul uses emotional pain to alert you that something in your life is misaligned. When you feel the ache of disappointment, the sting of rejection, or the emptiness of failure, that pain is trying to show you something about yourself, what you've tolerated for too long, what you've outgrown, what you need to heal or release. The problem is most people don't listen. Instead, they fight it, suppress it, or try to escape it. But whatever you resist persists. The pain you bury doesn't disappear. It multiplies in silence until it demands to be faced. The moment you stop resisting and start listening, pain transforms from an enemy into a mentor. It becomes the compass that points you back to truth. Think about the strongest people you've ever met. They didn't become strong because life was gentle with them. They became strong because life challenged them. Growth doesn't come from the moments you feel powerful. It comes from the moments you feel powerless and choose to rise anyway. Pain introduces you to parts of yourself you never knew existed. It strips away illusions, false identities, and comfort zones that keep you small. It forces you to dig deeper, to develop resilience, to discover courage, to find meaning where you once only saw suffering. Without pain, you would never know your own strength. Without loss, you would never appreciate presence. Without struggle, you would never learn persistence. Pain is the great awakener. It humbles the ego and awakens the spirit. Most people try to analyze pain instead of embracing it. They ask, "Why is this happening to me?" As if life has singled them out for suffering. But the more empowering question is, what is this trying to teach me? That shift in perspective changes everything. It turns you from a victim into a student. It gives purpose to what once felt pointless. Because the truth is, life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Every painful experience carries a seed of growth, a message, a gift. Sometimes it's teaching you boundaries. Sometimes it's building your empathy. Sometimes it's redirecting you towards something better. You don't have to like the pain, but you can respect it. You can honor the wisdom it's trying to bring. When you stop running from pain and start walking with it, you begin to reclaim your power. You no longer fear challenges because you understand that they're shaping you. You start to see pain as part of the process, not a punishment. You stop asking life for comfort and start asking for capacity. The capacity to handle more, to love deeper, to create greater impact. And here's the paradox. The more you embrace pain, the less control it has over you. It loses its ability to paralyze you because you've learned to use it as fuel. You learn that pain can break you open without breaking you down. You learn that every scar is not a symbol of weakness, it's a record of survival, a proof of transformation, a reminder that you've been tested and you're still here. Pain refines you. It burns away what's false so that what's real can remain. It teaches you that healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means it no longer controls you. The people who live with the deepest purpose are often the ones who've endured the deepest pain because they allowed that pain to shape their mission instead of their misery. Pain becomes power when you stop seeing it as something that happens against you and start seeing it as something that happens for your awakening. Every time you face it, you rise a little higher. Every time you accept it, you grow a little wiser. And every time you transform it, you step closer to the person you were always meant to become. Change doesn't take time. It takes a decision. This is one of the hardest truths for people to grasp because we've been conditioned to believe that transformation is a slow, gradual process. We tell ourselves stories like, "I just need more time," or "I'll start when I'm ready," and we end up waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. But the reality is your life doesn't shift because time passes. It shifts the instant you decide that enough is enough. One decision made with full commitment can rewrite years of hesitation. You don't need another year, another course, or another plan. You need a moment of absolute clarity when you draw the line in the sand and say, I'm done living this way. That's the moment change begins. Not when it's convenient, not when it's comfortable, but when it's necessary. People often confuse preparation with transformation. They think if they gather enough information, they'll eventually feel ready to take action. But preparation without decision becomes procrastination. You can read every book, attend every seminar, and listen to every motivational talk. But if you don't decide to implement what you've learned, nothing changes. Life responds to decisiveness, not indecision. It's the same in every area. Your health, your relationships, your business, your happiness. You either decide to show up differently, or you keep repeating the same patterns that created the pain you're in. The power of a single decision can collapse years of waiting into one defining moment. It's not that change is hard, it's that people refuse to fully commit. They keep one foot in the past and one in the possibility, wondering why they never move forward. Every person has a moment in life when they reach a threshold, when the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the fear of change. That's when true transformation happens. It's not because you finally learned something new, it's because you finally decided to apply what you already knew. The moment you make a real decision, the universe starts to move with you. It's as if every force that was once resisting you suddenly aligns to support you. Why? Because commitment creates energy. When you're half in, your life stays stagnant. When you're all in, life starts opening doors you didn't even know existed. Every major breakthrough you've ever had, whether it was quitting an addiction, changing careers, or ending a toxic relationship, started with one internal declaration: no more. That phrase, when said with conviction, is more powerful than years of wishing. The mind loves to complicate change because it wants to protect you from uncertainty. It whispers excuses like, what if I fail? Or what if I'm not ready? But here's the truth. Failure isn't the opposite of change. It's part of it. Every decision carries risk, but indecision carries a greater one. The risk of staying exactly where you are. When you decide, you reclaim your power. You stop letting fear dictate your future and start acting in alignment with who you want to become. The decision doesn't guarantee instant results. It guarantees instant direction. Once you decide, your actions, habits, and focus begin to shift automatically. You start noticing opportunities you once ignored. And people who once drained you start falling away. You begin to attract situations that match your new standard. The beauty of decision is that it's available to everyone, regardless of circumstances. You can be broke, heartbroken, or completely lost, and still make a decision that changes everything. The power doesn't lie in your current resources, it lies in your resolve. When your mind locks onto a vision, when your heart commits, you ignite a force inside you that time cannot create. Time doesn't heal indecision, it just deepens it. The longer you wait, the more your doubt grows roots. But the moment you decide, you cut through the noise. You take ownership. You shift from hoping to commanding, from wishing to doing. Decision is the bridge between intention and manifestation. Every extraordinary life is built on ordinary moments of decision. People see the outcome, the success, the transformation, but they miss the defining moment behind it. That private instant when someone said, I'm done settling. That's where destiny is shaped. The decision doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. It's the courage to act before you have all the answers, to leap before you see the net, to trust that who you're becoming is worth the risk of leaving behind who you were. When you truly decide, you eliminate the alternative. You stop negotiating with your old self. You stop saying maybe and start saying must. That's when life starts to move. Because change doesn't take time. It takes one decision that you refuse to take back. Your story is your prison until you rewrite it. Most people are not trapped by their circumstances. They're trapped by the narrative they've built around those circumstances. They've told themselves the same disempowering story for so long that it has become their identity. Every time they fail, they say, that's just how my life is. Every time something goes wrong, they whisper, this always happens to me. And over time, that story becomes a cage, an invisible boundary that defines what's possible. The most dangerous prison is not made of walls or bars. It's made of beliefs. And the moment you believe your story more than your potential, you stop growing. What keeps people stuck isn't their past. It's the meaning they've attached to it. Your past can be your teacher or your tormentor, but you decide which role it plays. The story you tell about your pain determines whether it becomes your excuse or your evolution. Every story begins as a simple description of what happened, but over time it becomes a declaration of who you are. I was betrayed becomes I can't trust anyone. I failed once becomes I'm not good enough. I grew up poor becomes I'll never be successful. The brain loves patterns, and stories provide consistency, even if that consistency is painful. The subconscious mind doesn't care if the story empowers you, it only cares that it feels familiar. So people keep repeating experiences that validate their narrative because on some level, staying in pain feels safer than rewriting the script. It's the illusion of certainty. Better to suffer predictably than to risk the unknown. But the truth is, your story is not fixed. It's flexible. You are the author, and you can pick up the pen at any time. The moment you realize that, you reclaim your freedom. Rewriting your story doesn't mean denying what happened to you. It means taking back the power to decide what it means. Every experience you've had, good or bad, can serve you if you're willing to shift your perspective. The same pain that once broke you can become the reason you rise. The same rejection that wounded your heart can teach you self-worth. The same failure that embarrassed you can become the foundation of your success. Life doesn't define you. Interpretation does. You can look at your past and say, that's where I was destroyed, or you can say, that's where I was forged. Both stories are available to you, but only one will move you forward. The key is to stop identifying with the version of yourself that was hurt and start identifying with the version that survived. The language you use to describe your life shapes the emotions you feel about it. Words are not just sounds, they're blueprints for your destiny. When you keep saying, I'm broken, you program your mind to find evidence of brokenness. When you start saying, I'm healing, you begin to see proof of restoration. The story changes the state, and the state changes the strategy. People spend years trying to fix their behavior without realizing their behavior is rooted in a story that says, I'm not enough. Once you rewrite that narrative, action becomes effortless because transformation doesn't happen by force, it happens by identity. When you change your story, you change what you believe you deserve, and life begins to rise to meet that new standard. Your story is the filter through which you experience everything. Two people can go through the same situation. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. The difference isn't in the event, it's in the interpretation. If you keep telling the story of how life hurt you, you'll keep reliving that pain. But if you start telling the story of how life grew you, you begin to extract power from the same events that once drained you. You can't create a new future while defending an old identity. As long as you keep saying, this is just who I am, you'll keep living as the person you were, not the person you're becoming. The story you protect is the life you prolong. You have to let the old chapter end before the new one can begin. The moment you decide to rewrite your story, you stop being a victim of your past and become the author of your future. You realize that what happened to you is not the end of the story, it's just the setup. Every wound, every mistake, every heartbreak was a plot twist preparing you for a new chapter. But you have to write it. You can't wait for life to do it for you. The pen is in your hand, and every thought, every word, every belief is another sentence in the story of who you are. You can write from fear or from faith, from pain or from purpose. The choice is yours. Because your story will either keep you confined to the past or it will become the map that leads you to everything you were created to be. Energy is everything. It's the invisible force that determines how you show up, how you connect, and how the world responds to you. You can have all the knowledge, all the strategy, all the plans, but if your energy is off, nothing flows. People don't remember what you say, they remember how you made them feel, and that feeling is energy. Your energy speaks before your words ever do. You walk into a room, and before you open your mouth, people sense who you are. They feel your confidence, your tension, your fear, or your joy. You attract into your life what matches your dominant energy. That's not mystical, it's psychological. Your state determines your focus determines your behavior, and your behavior creates your results. When you're drained, doubtful, or disconnected, even the best opportunities can slip through your fingers because your energy doesn't match what you're trying to achieve. Everything in life is vibration. You are constantly broadcasting an energetic frequency through your emotions, your thoughts, and your physiology. When you're excited, grateful, and fully alive, your energy expands. It draws people in, creates momentum, and amplifies your influence. When you're anxious, resentful, or exhausted, your energy contracts. It repels opportunities and isolates you from possibility. The challenge is that most people manage their lives but never manage their energy. They think burnout is normal. They believe fatigue is just part of success. success. They wake up tired, go to work overwhelmed, and come home numb. They survive on caffeine and distraction, wondering why life feels heavy. But your energy isn't just about physical stamina, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual vitality. You can't pour from an empty cup and expect abundance. You have to learn how to recharge your energy as intentionally as you recharge your devices. Energy is not accidental. It's cultivated. It comes from your habits, your environment, and your inner dialogue. The food you eat, the people you surround yourself with, the thoughts you entertain, they all affect your vibration. You can't expect to live an inspired life while feeding yourself low energy inputs. If you're constantly consuming negativity, gossip, drama, or fear, you are training your nervous system to live in survival mode. That drains your energy faster than any workload ever could. To elevate your life, you have to elevate your state. Movement, breath, and focus are three of the fastest ways to shift your energy. Move your body with purpose every day, because motion creates emotion. Control your breath, because your breath controls your nervous system. Direct your focus, because wherever focus goes, energy flows. You can't stay in a disempowered state while focusing on gratitude, purpose, and love. The mind and body respond to what you feed them. Your energy determines the quality of every relationship you have. When you bring negativity into your interactions, you drain not only yourself, but everyone around you. You can't expect to attract empowering people if you radiate frustration, jealousy, or apathy. Like attracts like. High energy people lift others because their presence alone expands what's possible. That's why some people can walk into a room and instantly change the atmosphere. They've learned to generate energy on demand. They don't wait for life to give them good circumstances. They create good states. They understand that energy is a choice, not a condition. Every morning you get to decide what energy you're going to live from. Fear or faith, scarcity or abundance, survival or creation. That single choice determines how your day unfolds, because your energy dictates your experience. The truth is, you are responsible for the energy you bring to everything you do. The moment you realize that, your life begins to shift. Instead of blaming your circumstances, you start mastering your state. Instead of waiting to feel motivated, you generate momentum. Instead of reacting to the world, you influence it. Energy is the foundation of leadership, love, creativity, and success. When your energy is strong, problems shrink. When it's low, even small challenges feel overwhelming. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's essential, because when your energy rises, your capacity expands. You think clearer, love deeper, and act bolder. The quality of your energy determines the quality of your life. Every goal, every dream, every breakthrough you seek will always begin with one thing: how you choose to show up energetically in this moment. Relationships magnify everything. They are the mirrors through which we see ourselves most clearly, the amplifiers of both our strengths and our weaknesses. The people you surround yourself with shape the tone, the pace, and the direction of your life more than almost anything else. You can have all the ambition, discipline, and drive in the world, but if you're constantly surrounded by people who doubt you, drain you, or discourage you, your energy will eventually collapse under their influence. On the other hand, one powerful, aligned relationship can elevate your mindset, expand your vision, and pull you toward a higher standard of living. Every person in your circle is either multiplying your purpose or diluting it. There is no neutral ground. The truth is, your environment isn't just where you live, it's who you're with. If you spend enough time around limitation, you begin to shrink. If you spend enough time around growth, you begin to expand. Most people underestimate the psychological weight of the company they keep. They believe they can maintain positivity while being surrounded by negativity, but energy doesn't work that way. Emotions are contagious. Confidence spreads, but so does doubt. Inspiration uplifts, but so does fear. The human brain mirrors what it sees most frequently. If the conversations you're having are always about problems, complaints, or blame, you begin to vibrate at the same level. But if your circle talks about vision, gratitude, purpose, and solutions, your energy naturally rises to meet that standard. Relationships act as tuning forks. They align you to a certain frequency. You can't play a symphony while staying in tune with people who are committed to noise. Every dream requires a new level of alignment, and that often means letting go of relationships that belong to an old version of you. There's a kind of loneliness that comes when you begin to grow beyond your current environment, and that loneliness is sacred. It's the space between who you were and who you're becoming. Many people fear it, so they cling to old relationships out of guilt or comfort, but you can't evolve while anchored to the familiar. Growth always demands separation before elevation. Sometimes you have to walk alone for a while to find find those who truly match your new frequency. When you stop settling for relationships that drain you, you create room for connections that strengthen you. The right people won't compete with your growth. They'll contribute to it. They won't ask you to dim your light. They'll help you shine brighter. The right relationships don't make you comfortable. They make you accountable. They challenge you to stay consistent with the highest version of yourself, not the most convenient one.